Hello and welcome to UK Crime Caught on Camera, a brand new bi-weekly show from National World. I'm Richard, wrangler of all things video at National World, and I'll be your guide through this week's look at all the crime that's been caught on camera. This footage shows officers arresting a drug dealer inside a Derby barbershop. 21-year-old Usman Nazir claims he's unarmed, but that was a lie.
I'll ask again, I'm going to be very specific. Are there any weapons on you? Okay, so no knives. Okay, nothing that can harm me. All right, okay. Just going to hold your hands up there. I'm going to give you a pat down. I'm going to search the right side of your body.
Police later found that the gun had 3 live rounds inside it. Nazir admitted 7 offences, including possession of a firearm, ammunition, and possession of drugs with intent to supply. He was jailed for 5 years at Derby Crown Court on January 12. April 2022, Bristol, England. What you're seeing is a result of a 3-hour arson spree by Daniel Cron. He, along with an as-yet unidentified man, set fire to both private and commercial vehicles in the Bradley Stoke and Stoke Gifford areas of South Gloucestershire. This included minibuses belonging to a community group which provides transport services for vulnerable adults and children. Cron was sentenced to 3 years in prison, having pled guilty to 21 counts of arson. Now we're in Plymouth. In this split video footage, we see the victim David Crawford on his black Kawasaki motorbike. Benjamin Parry is driving above. Crawford was stopped by Chad Brading and Thomas Pawley in the black Mercedes. Parry, Brading and Pawley are members of the Banditos Motorcycle Club in Devon. Crawford is part of the Cornish-based Red Chiefs Motorcycle Club. Pawley and Brading are in Pawley's black Mercedes car on a slip road of the A38. As Crawford's bike was being obstructed, Parry, who was driving his work transit van, drove behind Mr. Crawford and struck the rear of the motorbike. Parry didn't stop after the collision, and Crawford was pinned under the transit as it drove at speed onto the A38. Mr. Crawford's body eventually broke free at the off-slip of another junction hundreds of metres away from the initial collision. Paramedics were unable to save Crawford, who died at the scene. During the trial, the court heard how it was considered insulting for a member of one club to ride in a rival club's patch, wearing colours, the badges and emblems of that club. The Banditos, Benjamin Parry, Chad Brading and Thomas Pawley, were all cleared of murder but convicted of manslaughter. Parry was jailed for 12 years while Brady and Pauling were sentenced to 4 years. In a victim support statement read to the court, Crawford's wife Anne-Marie said, "David was the life and soul of the party. He was passionate about rugby, which he played since school. He was loved by his family and his close friends." Mr. Crawford's daughter, Sarah, said in a statement read to the court, "When I received the news that my dad had died, the pain was immediate." She explained that her dad was on his way to arrange flights to Australia to visit her when he was killed. She said, "The day he died, he was found with his passport in his pocket, as he was arranging flights and visas to Brisbane to see me. My dad won't walk me down the aisle and won't be there for future family events. I'm just devastated." Crawford was 59. Now we're in Leeds, where Harleen Gandhi was murdered by her husband at her home in September last year. We travelled from her native India to the UK as students in March 2021, but separated before the murder. The police found Harleen fatally wounded after being called to investigate a disturbance. She died from a stab wound to the chest. In this CCTV footage, you can see her husband Satpreet Gandhi bang the murder weapon in an Asda the month before her murder. Other security camera footage shows him waiting across the road from Harleen's home on the same day she was killed. Police believe his backpack contains a murder weapon. Here we see him crossing the street to Harleen's basement flat, where he stabbed her in the chest and left her to die. Later footage shows him fleeing the murder. Harleen's family have been left utterly devastated by her murder. Police say people who knew Harleen told them that her husband had a background of domestic violence and controlling behaviour, but this was not reported to police at the time. Gandhi was given a life sentence at Leeds Crown Court. Coming up on UK Crime Caught on Camera, armed officers from the National Crime Agency bust a gang. and yet more drunk drivers caught in the act. But first we're in Melksham, where a man who was convicted of fly tipping, burning waste and false advertising is being caught in the act by a passing military helicopter. Footage from the Ministry of Defence Bird shows Corey Ross' car trying to set rubbish on fire instead of disposing of it. Last summer, Carr pled guilty to 4 environmental and 1 trading standards offence. The judge ordered him to pay a £1,295 fine and costs. He also lost his licence to carry waste. Now we come to Birmingham, where National Crime Agency officers are arresting men at gunpoint. They were found to be in possession of an array of weapons, including a loaded firearm. Officers recovered a handgun, ammunition, knives and sledgehammer from the gang. The gun was loaded. Carl Brooks, Callum Mia, Richard Davis, Jordan Feeney and Robert Clark were all charged with possession of a prohibited firearm, possession of prohibited ammunition, possession of a prohibited firearm, possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, and possession of a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. Clark was also charged with possession of an offensive weapon or bladed article. All 5 men pled guilty at Birmingham Crown Court in December 2022, where a judge jailed the gang for a combined 32 years. Lastly, we come to the North East, where Northumbria police have released a collection of body cam footage from their winter crackdown on drink or drunk drivers. More than 230 suspected drink or drug drivers were arrested, and 120 years worth of road bans were issued.
Right, I've just went to the Chinese for me Chinese.
Right, just
somebody told us that there was some trouble by the Murray, so I've just passed and then I get pulled.
You get pulled because 1, your windscreen is totally frozen, you can't see out of it. 2, you smell of alcohol, so I suggest you...
Oh, right, okay.
Alright.
Smell of alcohol, right, okay. Christ almighty.
Just...
Wow.
Right. You've blown 103 on the breathalyzer, okay? The legal limit in the UK is 35. Alright? So at this point you're going to be arrested on suspicion of driving whilst over the prescribed level of alcohol, okay?
No, but so I'm going to car myself.
No, you won't.
How much had a drink? Huh?
How the odds?
How the odds? How many pints do you think you've consumed tonight? And spirits?
6.
Over 6 pints. What about spirits?
1 shot.
1 shot. When was your last alcoholic drink?
About an hour ago.
The legal limit's 35, and you've blown 78. So at this minute in time, you're under arrest on suspicion of driving while over the prescribed limit of alcohol. Okay? How long since you had an alcoholic drink?
20 minutes ago. Right.
Okay. That means you're under arrest. Alright. Have you got your keys?
You're not, I'm not a criminal, right?
Blow, keep going, 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 keep going. Stop, thank you very much. Right, the legal limit's 35, you've blown 75. Alright, so that's over twice the legal limit. You're now under arrest on suspicion of drink driving. You do not have to say anything behind your defence. If you do not mention questioned, some swear in court. Anything you do say may be in evidence. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Well, that's that for this week. Wherever you've been watching us, please drop us a like, share this video around, and follow or subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Rich for National World, signing off.